Something is wrong with the world. You can feel it in the static, in the signals, in the fractures no one else wants to see. I thought I was chasing a secret, a hidden code, a machine buried beneath the noise. But the deeper I went, the more reality began to tear. The city opened, the mask came off, and beyond the chaos, there was another world, ancient, radiant, waiting. And in its light, a woman, Lady Avalon, not a dream, not a ghost, a guide, a warning, a key. Spirit Dial was never just technology. It was a doorway, a threshold between what is ending and what comes next. Now the old world is collapsing in plain sight. The new one is already calling. And once you cross that line, once you see what waits on the other side, you do not return the same.
I see it. The gate is open. No. Tell them I'm not coming back. I'm finishing this right now.
The signal has changed. The future is opening. And this is only the beginning.
It's the Spirit Dial. It bridges the fracture.
How long has it been here?
Waiting for you to answer. Waiting for you to answer.
Get your mind blown. Lady Avalon. Only on spiritdial.ai. The signal has changed. The future is opening. And this is only the beginning.
What's going on? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and Dylan, the Human Design Maven, or HD Maven, and we are now here for Storm of the Phoenix. What's going on, Dylan? How you doing, brother?
Hey, happy to be back. Hey, everybody. Good to
But
see
you got to
you.
talk into the mic.
Good to see you, everyone. Glad to be back.
It's been a long time.
September 9th,
Hold on,
2025.
that was the wrong. You're good.
September 9th, 2025.
It's a trip.
Doesn't feel like that long.
No, but at the same time, I do feel like many timelines have been happening since then that I'm kind of like, what happened? Because everything is moving so fast, but then it doesn't feel that way. But then you're catching yourself like it moved too fast.
Yeah. I mean, Snake Year took us deep, and then we came out of that deep, deep place of Snake Year right into an eclipse. And that was not a normal exit. So like all these timelines got just chopped off.
Oh.
And then we had like the 3D fallout of that, because on those eclipse cycles, you're changing timelines on multiple dimensions, and then you kind of have to see it out picture of your life. So we kind of were just processing it for, March, April, and May. And I feel like that May new moon in Taurus was really what kind of like gave us the sample of the new.
Right.
And like we were saying earlier, the Gemini one was kind of fucked up. And now we're really there. Capricorn full moon, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter in Leo. Not quite yet, but almost there.
Any minute.
Final
like
moments.
30 minutes away.
Nice. We'll see it. We'll feel it.
We will. I mean, I honestly think I'm the most tripped out that we are 6 months away from the cross of planning at its end and the beginning of the sleeping Phoenix. And I'm thinking of all the years you and I just with ourselves have talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like thinking about how I look through the world in that lens, especially the last like 4 years really intensely. And that's all I keep seeing is watching it happen. But it's really weird because it's like, I think that's one of the issues with the collective at the moment is that the collective's looking at it as if like it's the beginning of the restart of the cross of planning. Like that's the weird part. Is like,
Yeah.
does that make sense? It's like
Yeah.
people are looking at it like we're almost through. And then we get to the same cross of planning, which the same 400 years again or something, without realizing it's going to be the complete, not even relative energy. And that's what, so for people, just a little context, this show we did before dawn, then we did after dawn, then we did a new dawn. Or no, we just did a new dawn. Before dawn, a new dawn. Now we're at storm of the Phoenix.
We're in the storm now, and there's no going back. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. People are really hot, like really, going hard on this new Earth 5D narrative. And sorry to tell you all, that's pretty much a psyop, because it's lulling us into this false sense of safety and comfortability, as if things are just going to magically improve right after the turning of the global cycles. And that's not what the global cycles indicate. The energies are so different from what we've experienced from 1615 to 2027, as opposed to where we're going in 2027 for the next 400 years after that. And everything that we know as comfort is defined by that background frequency. Communal resources, having a place of belonging, having a place of work, having a society to even belong to and feel like, okay, if I just do this thing, then I'm safe, and that's going away. And that's why the strategy and authority piece is like so emphasized. It isn't just like know yourself better. It's like everything that we are used to being given shape and form to our lives won't be there. So all you have is decisions to make after the cross of planning ends. And the only thing that's going to guide you to those proper decisions is your inner authority. It's the atomic structures within your being, not the mental processes that you've downloaded, the conceptual idea of what's correct or what's right. I mean, there'll just be such a drastic change just in our focus on other people's perceptions of us. We live in a society fueled by the cross of planning, which is all about tribal acceptance and belonging, which means belonging and being accepted feels like survival in this era. Whereas in the next era, yeah, that's always going to be a part of human nature and life. But just imagine how many people's psyches are wrapped around how they're perceived. And then the whole laws of the structure of like what makes those things good goes away. You have to define yourself.
That's true.
That's really like the or die statement of the cross of the sleeping phoenix is you have to define yourself. What is your definition in your chart? Like, what is your definition in your body graph? Which centers can actually carry you? And the thing that I think will really be interesting is how we relate to time. Because right now, time is really constrained by money and like energy and what society needs from you, what the cross of planning needs from you. But it's kind of like after the sleeping phoenix, it's not going to be instant, but we'll gradually see this. We're going to free up our time because all those things we were giving our time and energy to won't even survive. So we kind of reclaim our time. It's like, what do we do with that? Without structures, what do we do with our time and energy?
It's very parasitic to me, the cross of planning, because the way that you just said that, we invest everything into this center parasite, and it takes very slowly from us.
Yeah.
And what we've seen is that the parasite has taken almost all the life force out of everybody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have anything left to consume. Because if you just like look at the world right now and you like think of whether it's economies or the way that the social contracts that we all have to feel that we have to do, even though I think those that are awake have really done a good job of proving to people, and the true energy of a light worker is like ending the social contract, right? Like, and going in your own authority, strategy, finding that
your own boundary structure.
But that there's nothing left to really consume from people left. Like everybody's at that place where it's like, I don't have anything left to give. I don't have anything left to be part of in this societal structured thing.
Right. I mean, the only people that are probably still there are unfortunately like extremely unconscious.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is great. And like the spectacle keeps going on. The greatest show on earth keeps going on. But the people who are privileged enough to be aware of the larger cycles have had their liquidation plan going for years now, silently meeting, in the UK with all like that weird thing they did during the Virgo eclipse.
I know.
With the banquet.
I know.
Where they were just kind of basically, here's the retirement plan for everybody in the elite class.
Yeah.
We're just going to drain everything and go hide underground while they kill each other.
Right.
And then we'll come back to the surface, because that's what parasites do. They don't have any real power. They don't have any real like energy, but they can just hide and just wait for the hosts to kill each other out. And then there'll be a small remnant left. And then they come back and try and take over that remnant and let it breed again to fill the population, and that's their resource. And so we as people need to look at this cycle that we're in and perhaps take a different direction as we move into this cross of the sleeping phoenix, because no, it may not be a 5D utopia new earth dream, but it will be time of having legitimate power and agency again, because that's what the background frequency says. People will have life force and energy and will, and it will probably be the greatest grab for that life force and energy and will ever, if you don't know what you're doing. And so that's really the like choose or die as well. I think it's have your own direction, have your own trajectory, kind of have your own resources in a lot of ways, whether that's people resources, natural resources, whatever it is that you have, and be ready to taste true freedom, because true freedom is also great responsibility, right?
Right.
And we also have all this astrology that's going to play quite an interesting movie for us within what the collective stage is set. Like we've obviously seen, there's quite an interesting setup going on with like the global chess game. And it's all about the timeline. It's all about the fight for the timeline. Like who has the attention, who has the resources, who has the allegiance of like true power, and who's just acting on the perception that they have power. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that we are being told that are happening that are not happening.
That's true.
And there's a lot bigger things happening that we have no idea about, at least, here in the West, in this paradigm.
Well, I have a question too, especially like with Ra, and he had brought up, because we're finishing this one line, the information line, and it would be this peak of information, like,
right.
And we are, whether you take AI, whether you take social media, you mix everything, computers. We just went quantum last week with the US government. It's all going exactly as he said. But it's interesting when you brought up like these elite, like that whole Peter Thiel group that was just found. I think it's called Dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's like so interesting. Like their subjects they're going to be speaking about is like World War III, but then it's like mixed in with like money does buy happiness. Like it's really weird, some of their things. There's also some old ones from like 2022 that were like really like interesting, like mushroom tea ceremony into drag show into like some weird biometric, crazy technology
wearable,
right? Yeah. And it's like the information is peaking. So we just had the Fauci file leak, right, from DNI, Tulsi Gabbard before she left, and the biolabs in Ukraine, and the news won't touch it.
I haven't heard anything.
Right? And it's like, here's the actual government documents of like, yes, the biolabs in Ukraine, the biolabs across the world that the U.S. funds through the U.S. aid projects. to do all this shit. And then in the Fauci stuff, it's like the real shit that happened during COVID that they were hiding and they were pressuring anybody who said anything. Like, you'll lose everything if you come out with that, right? Like, it's bad. Why do you think that during this period before that, is it the information too big for the cross of planning for people in it? Like, I can't, like, I'm trying to pretend to, I guess, be somebody who wouldn't be able to like accept information. Like, that goes against the planning of what my little utopian idea of this parasitic world is, even though it's the actual info that shows it's falling apart, it's bad, it doesn't work. Like, what is that from a human design standpoint, you think? Especially as we're an evolving being and a nine-centered being, and we've evolved. This is a new thing.
You know, weirdly enough, this makes me think of like the raves, not in the obvious way, but in the sense that to understand a rave, like, they have no individual identity. Everything is shared. There's some information over here and there's some information over here. It's all a field. It's all an electromagnetic field. And so it's almost like, I don't know, it's really interesting because Rod does say like it goes into a dark age after the end of cross and planning. We won't have the same access to illumination of the why, like how do things work?
Right.
We won't know how things work, or like the future generations won't have access to that. So, I mean, it's almost like it's all being collected and almost archived. Like, that's the feeling that I get, is all of our consciousness, all of our knowledge, all of the stuff, and a hell of a lot of the knowledge that we have isn't even real. It's fabricated histories to support the parasitic timeline and support the leadership structure that's in power. What was the question again?
Like, why do you think people, here, I'll throw this up. So today with the crazy astrology, CERN shut down until 2030 today.
Oh.
And they're saying it's for upgrades.
Oh, okay. Because they've been stealing
Or it
Stargate
could be
codes.
for preservation. That's why I look at it. And it's weird reading the comments, like something bad is going to happen. Right? Like, this is just random, just some random thing on X, right? I don't follow the person or anything, right? It's just like, and that's what popped up in my feed, right? Like, somebody tagged me in that, right? But it's kind of like interesting because my question to you is like, in this weird field we're in of the one line of all this information, and then people not wanting to accept it, like all the files from the US government, like, here's Fauci and how COVID was all a lie. It was actually like an old bat vaccine that went bad, right? And they fucking torched Wuhan, like with the Chinese, like torched the fucking sites and then went into the wet market and actually flamethrowed and torched out areas of the wet market. So we never got any of that shit. And then they knew something bad happened there. And then they put out that it was natural, right? Like, oh, this is natural. And then it's multiple years of them preparing for a vaccine. And the second that happens, you see Fauci jump on like, no, this is natural. And we already have the idea for the vaccine of what is exactly to do for this shit. And it all is about the vaccine for 2020. It's not about trying to figure out how to help people in another way. It's not about trying to figure out the virus. It's all about pushing anybody's opinions out. And so when you see that it was all for a vaccine, for money or other things, because there's a lot redacted, just enough to see that. But all the other stuff we're not allowed to see. But my whole question is, why are people in this time having a problem accepting truth and actual information in the cross of planning? Do you think it's because they want to maintain the cross of planning instead of admit that it's really bad now or that it's ending? Like, that's my whole thing, is why are people rejecting truth that's in their face and doing like, and that's what you and I talked about during COVID on this show. Like, people, like, you could give them a new fact. No, I'm listening to whatever the mainstream media, which is really the cross of planning media, says.
I mean, I feel like that's soul level stuff. It's like that soul isn't present enough to, believe in growth and evolution. So all of that, trust in themselves to adapt, to evolve, to deal with change has been outsourced very across the planning. Just outsource it to us.
Mm.
We'll take care of you if you give us your belief, your energy, your money, your future, etc. And so it's like people have so deeply invested in this system that they have been told will protect them unconditionally in perpetuity until, they retire and they have their nice retirement. But, so if that's your fantasy, you don't want that ruined. You don't want that huge investment that you've made of your life force into this system. You don't want to see anything that's going to say, sorry, that was a bad investment. You don't have the future that you think you do. And, it's a timeline thing. It's like, just like certain people can see different wavelengths of light, or different animals can hear different wavelengths of sound. If your soul's not on that timeline, that information is invisible to you. You could read it 100 times and you wouldn't even remember it in the morning, because it's just not a part of your experience and part of your trajectory. And when we go through these big cycle shifts, it does bring rapid evolution, and it does bring the fact that our bodies have to change very quickly. And a lot of people can't make that change that quickly. Like the biology just can't support it. And so another big thing that Ra said, that because we're going to lose this connection to the solar plexus from the 1949, we'll lose our ability. We've said this so many times, but it's true. Like, we'll lose our ability to digest meat the same way, and that whole industry and that whole food source, and even potentially what is rotting inside people's bodies already will suddenly become like an unviable, very toxic thing. And who knows if they've jabbed the cows for years now, right? Like, who knows how much of this tech we have in our intestines, our gut brain, that's just been plugging into the walls of our, internal organs.
Because it's also happening from the farm side of things too, even the plants, right? Like, is that shit organic anymore? Like, all the chemicals are using, all the GMO shit. It's like the shit they're spraying in the skies. It's everywhere. It's on everything.
And to me, it feels like, yeah, that's all like an insurance policy to maintain some control over human energy as we move into this new, more liberated era. I mean, it's this Phoenix energy that's coming in 2027, the cross of the sleeping Phoenix. It's emerging from within us, but it's also going to be reflected in the outer world. And I think that has a lot to do with the consciousness of the planet. Like, she's really done with a lot of this stuff. And just like anybody has soul contracts, the planet has soul contracts with certain durations, which will tolerate certain things for evolution to give humans a chance. And then there are times when there are cutoffs.
Right.
And we don't remember those times, because those are the times where history is erased. We have amnesia. So we don't expect it. We don't have any reference point to be like, oh, there's another great flood coming. It's like, kind of we do, but we all just feel like we're going to keep living forever. Like, that's the human experience. We just think it's going to keep going the same way until it doesn't. And so I also wanted to ask you, like, in terms of major earth changes, like, megalithic earthquakes, things like that, do you see astrological patterns that point that out? Because Horus year is known for earthquakes. Eclipse cycles have earthquake ramifications. And, with the great American eclipses and those patterns that cross the country over those 3 eclipse cycles, I don't remember the years.
2017 and then 2024.
Yeah. And it's kind of made this, etheric cuts in the country. And will that eventuate into fault lines? And
yeah, I mean, honestly, the big thing, we're just 3 weeks away from astrologically the rarest moment in astrological history that any human could know. You go back 12,000 plus years in any ephemeris, you'll never see all 3 outer planets at the exact same degree in air and fire, or even earth and water, all
Yeah.
in perfect harmony. What's weird is there's a harmony in the astrology.
Yeah.
But you go back to World War II and you see within a degree and a half the same harmony.
Huh.
Right?
And
so
it's
I
4
think
degrees.
it's 4 degrees of air and fire, right? So and Jupiter's going to be added into it. That's what makes it crazy. And technically on the 19th of July, the moon will be at 4 Libra. So it's then you add the moon, you got 5 energies all in alignment. Creates a basket, a cradle, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it the hand cup of God that's holding.
Chalice.
Yeah, to me, it's more of a cup like that, but there's other alignments that call them cups or chalices.
Oh.
But the main thing here is on a world stage, I think it's bigger than those things. And those are just repercussions of it. So like, I think it's the horizon of our understanding of like, I'm going to go old, like terrestrial, celestial, super celestial, like eternal. Like it's almost like there's like something sliding in that bumps between eternal and super celestial that like kind of bumps eternal higher.
Wow.
Like, does that make sense? Like something's
It
slipping
does.
in. And that's where I think you get into the more alien shit. I think we realize I think the earthquake is the human earthquake. Because if I study alchemy, so it's never about the earth, the terrestrial, right? It's always about like the human earthquake.
Yeah.
What's the human earthquake going to be?
Well, in this case, it's a storm.
Yeah, a storm, right? So
Phoenix.
it's like once we find out we're not from here, let's just use that as a part of our little experiment here.
Right.
Humans are not from Earth. And I'm not saying that's true. That's just like, let's have a fun experiment. How does that affect everybody's religion? How does that affect
Right.
everybody's connection to the societal plans? Because I based my whole life off this religion. And now I'm realizing that my ancestors are farther than just my ancestry.com. It goes back to another planet that we don't know shit about, where we used to eat other humans. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
But let's just say that the information comes out that we left because we were eating each other. And that's actually what's in every McDonald's and everything now. That we've repeated the cycle and we're on another planet doing the same thing. That's a human earthquake.
Right. So when we were
That causes the earth to freak the fuck out because our frequency is affecting the earth. We always like to think
we're the 3D printer of reality.
Like, and that's what
4D.
I think. But to combine with what's happening astrologically, when you get these outer alignments, it's more about what humans are going to do because Uranus is involved with Pluto and with Neptune. So that deals with this higher, more subconscious and way deeper into the repressed aspects of humanity and unseen forces.
Yeah. I think Uranus is a, higher self guide, and higher self, like it's thrown around, but honestly, like you do have a soul, just like you were saying, super terrestrial, celestial. We all have those different layers to our being. Our brain typically can't process that. Our DNA doesn't go that high in oscillation typically, but a lot of people probably watching this show have had experiences that confirm that. So Uranus is bringing in this like system update to include more of the higher self.
Right.
Pluto's in Aquarius. So it's like Aquarius is to me like that grandmaster mentality. Like it's somebody who like the Eternals, like that movie, this Aquarius energy is like the beings who have reached enlightenment of some kind or ascension of some kind. That's just how I think of it. And then Pluto is like, it's time to show up or something.
Right.
Like they have to they're kind of forced to show their hand or arrive or whatever.
It's
and then
the hidden contract. That's my new book about Pluto. It's the ruler of the occult, but it's the hidden contract that you have to discover by going below the surface into your deeper spiritual work, into the shadows, to realize there was a hidden contract of why you're here.
Right.
Like,
Who you think you are
you know?
is like officially irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like if I hadn't gone on my human design journey, if I hadn't done medicine work with the jungle and the plants, if I hadn't had all these experiences, I wouldn't know my hidden contract. I'd still be striving for the cross of planning version of Dylan, who was a bartender in San Francisco,
Yeah.
right? And thinking that that was like my top of the tops American dream or whatever.
Right.
But little did I know at that time, there was a hidden contract to my life that goes much deeper
Right.
and totally kind of laughs in the face of who I thought I was. And I think that's true for all. There's something there for all of us. Like each person has that layer. And this is like a seismic event of like, you kind of have to step into your your hidden contract to be strong enough to make it through this. And it's not because of like maybe flying rocks and, you know, fire and brimstone, but to have the wherewithal and to know that you have that depth of capacity, you're going to have to tap into your soul level. Your prefrontal cortex does not stand a chance against this like kind of generational astrology.
No, I mean, even just our brains can't even handle the fact that our phone that you get to look at every day is fucking throwing fucking red light in your fucking face like MK Ultra did every day, right? But I think in the book I describe as when the egg is fertilized by the sperm, which we all were, it's the egg that makes the choice. So, right. It could be surrounded by 10 to 20 million sperm, even though in men today it's half of that, right? And it just keeps going down. So you take a 17-year-old kid out of high school today and there's some 40-year-old around with more sperm who's already lost like a bunch of it. You know what I mean? Like that's how bad it is. And the birth rates are low. And that's also something that Raw did talk about, which is kind of crazy.
The fertility rate
dropping. How do you know that far away from it, you know? But the idea of the tribe isn't in our birth. It's very individualized. The mother that we're all born from a mom, and her egg chooses the sperm. Then those 23 chromosomes, the other 23 chromosomes, they come together, they make us, and then we're birthed out. And it's very individualized. You only have that mom to attach to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the only species that once we come out, it's the mom and dad that keep you alive for a year before you can start to eat and walk and move around, do shit. There is no other species. And so to me, there is no tribal world that, like, if you think about it, an infant, there is nothing. I know from being a father of 2 kids now, it's not like they make the world for infants. It's like shunned. Like, no, oh God, you brought your infant here?
Yeah.
All they've done is make a changing table and a fucking bathroom. That's it. But the society's like, well, we don't have a spot for you. So if you think about it, the cross of planning wasn't meant for us as human beings fully. It's only meant for us when we've reached a certain place that can contribute the way that it wants it to be contributed to. But I go into the Pluto book that I'm releasing this week, is that when we go back to wherever we go, don't we need to be in our true essence of ourself fully in identification for, if we want to call that God, is like the same way of the egg, like going down the Nyx, like in the Egyptian way on the sticks, right? To go back into the afterworld. It's like we're sperm again as a soul swimming back up to the egg, and whether it will receive us or not.
That's why they made so much of a big deal to keep your memories when you died. That's why they kept all their stuff in their tombs, because that was your encryption of who you were. Can you maintain your consciousness after dropping the body? And all of those mystery schools, that's what it was teaching. Can you stay awake even though your body drops? Because they knew that consciousness was not tied to the body. You know, it's just a field. If that. So what you're saying is like, have you let the cross of planning wear you down so much that God can't even recognize your encryption anymore to know to take you back to source? Because it's like,
it's like a stuck sperm in the fallopian tube that can't make it up there, and that's you see in like videos now they have like where it's just kind of like I'm defined by this cross of planning. I can't believe my Instagram numbers weren't high enough. I can't believe my job didn't do this the way I wanted it to. I abandoned my best
It's
friends,
hard
my
out
kids,
there.
my whatever, because I wanted to be this.
It's hard out
To get
there.
recognition from these people that don't even know, I don't even know, and that don't even care and don't even think about me. It's kind of like, this is the biggest blessing that's about to happen.
Exactly.
It's just not in the way that blessings are described in the cross of planning either. Blessings in the cross of planning are, here's your money and a great job. And that happens to all of us. We get everything that we want. And the second that happens, it doesn't turn out the way we want. And it all starts unwinding.
Because it's not
crazy.
It's not divinely designed.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy rigged from other people's agendas of extraction and exploitation. And like you said, you have to hit this certain echelon of proficiency in these very non-human skill sets and motivations and mindsets. And it kind of makes us into weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
To have to pursue that at such a high intensity and constantly. We as entrepreneurs know how much of that there is. And yeah, it's just designed to kind of, shuck you like a piece of corn and take all those layers off. So you're just this raw, ripe piece of energy that can be consumed by the system.
Which, if you take an Egyptian pharaoh, they were wrapped, mummified. Their organs were put into little jars that were certain guardians of those organs for the afterlife, so that they could actually reincarnate if they wanted to. But they were very defined in that way. And I'm not saying we need to go back to that, but it's an interesting place of like, they're defining themselves very deeply, even though to me it reminds me of larva.
Yeah.
Like back up to our insect or overlords of praying mantises. But that could be what blows the lid on everything too. It could be that aliens are insects. I mean, that's the kind of shit that something here, to me, the earthquake of like the next 3 weeks, the information that comes out is going to be too much for people. If they can't handle UAP, Fauci lied for everything and the world lied, and all the documents are now out about COVID, and you still believe COVID's real, and you still believe that that shot was good for you. And all these things, like the list just goes on forever, right? Obviously, the cross of planning is going to end by some information, because it's going to be information, one line, that finally blows people's minds, that earthquakes the mind to almost fracture, to not be able to participate and watch everything fall naturally because we're not participating naturally.
If you think of it,
I don't know. I mean, that's a theory.
Yeah. If you think of it, how it's a line 1 sequence going into a line 6 sequence in like color, tone, and bass, a line 1 would be smell. So like a very primitive, primal base kind of like way of understanding your environment. Oh, this smells bad. This smells good. 6 is auric contact. 6 is just feeling. So what I'm saying here is,
but that's like when you agree, that's like a higher level feeling than just what we traditionally think is feeling. Like it's like
I think what I'm trying to point out here, like what you said, is it's gonna be information, line 1, that makes us feel something, line 6, that we didn't know was there. And that's the whole idea of the solar plexus coming online. That's what 2027 really is about, the solar plexus coming online. What if we all start feeling something we can't explain? And what if that something is, hey, I'm feeling your feelings. I'm hearing your thoughts. Like, what if there's no more separation in consciousness? Because that's what the raves point to. I'm not saying everything's about the raves and they're the end all be all. We'll go more into that in the special that we're going to do. But it's about breaking these barriers between the era of the mind and the era of the solar plexus. We're moving into the era of, literally, we've been in the era of the mind. Everything was about developing our mind.
right.
This, bifocal conceptual measure kind of way of thinking, done. We're going into a whole new system that this system we've been in has cut us off from, for the most part, from the shitty food, from just the chemicals, everything. It's really not set us up to have healthy vessels to open up to that new amplitude and voltage of our emotional system, which is all about electricity and
Mhm.
the soul speaking through the body and the nervous system. And that's a big part of what that medication was capping us at a certain, kind of bandwidth. Our bandwidth was going to exceed something, and a lot of it was about capping that.
So I don't, there is no profile 1/6 people, right?
No.
That's what I find interesting about this kind of energy of just watching the line switch, which I think is what, like a 70-year thing, something like that. Like we'll be in 6 for like 50 or 60 years or something like that.
Yeah, I guess it would be like 411 divided by 6.
Yeah. So, and that kind of relates to like how the fixed stars move every 72 years,
68 and a
a
half.
degree, but it's a different concept. And I think so. It's like if there was a 1/6 who put the info first, and then their subconscious line, like the 6 line would be like what they're trying to come out with to be a role model. It's almost like they're incompatible, because to be a role model, you have to be able to kind of feel in the moment more,
Yeah, and 6 lines from the I Ching are about transition. It's about looking to the next thing.
And whether you're going to be the role model or not, somebody else might be better.
Yeah.
And then you have a better role in the transition somewhere else.
And the role model is not trying to role model. They're just doing it because that's who they are. A role model isn't a thing to become for its own sake. You're a role model because you're actually in alignment with yourself. And that's why you're worth following. That's why you're a leader. Category of 1 leader. It's not because you thought about leadership every morning for your whole life. It's because you felt what was right for you, and you felt what was wrong for you, and you felt more than not what was right. And you became somebody because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 6th line is like so not interested in looking at other people's definition of what's right and wrong, because it's so crystallized in its own energy.
And I know. I see that in my daughter who's a 6 too. Like when she's not into what it is, she just goes, no. And then I just go, oh, okay. What do you want to do? You want to do that? Let's do that. I don't ever push a 6 line to do something they don't want to do. But it makes sense though, especially I think it's going to be weird because that 6 line also does carry that whole Saturn whole cycle.
And Chiron.
So it's like there is like, it's not going to just be some easy thing. And there's a lot of lessons that have to be learned to step into the sleeping Phoenix. And you are a sleeping Phoenix cross.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a 6 line. It's going to be interesting because, the 1st line is all about like, what's the best? Like, what's the best information? What's the most correct? What's the most reliable technology? What's the strongest nation? It's still a big measurement game. 6th line is a lot of different approaches. So with the global cycle going into a 6th line, very unique Aquarian individual approaches of doing things, whatever they might be, are going to be highlighted by the program. Those people are naturally people are going to drift into your orbit. If you have a strong signal of how you've lived your life and you have a certain way of doing things, that 6 line, people will just flock to you because those giant systems that were built off of those 1st line blocks are crumbling, of course. But
do you want to pull up like a chart? Because I think people should see that when they look at their chart, their body graph, that at the top, their directions are basically these lines and how things come to them, or if they're more internalized, or if they're more like, it's kind of like, I don't think people realize like in your own human design chart, you're more than just your profile too. Because our determinism are like how things are, right? Like the determinism,
yeah.
all of them. I'm trying to think of all of them. that's
the
why I'm not the
variable, the
right. Okay, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Like so, like at the top there, those rights
color, tone, and base.
for like here's your chart. So you got those left ones on the left side and on the
Yeah.
design side, and so you have a 3 line there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have color 2, tone 3. So this is
Mm-hmm.
like my brain. Color 2, it's got a natural innate recognition of things. Any 2, whether it's your profile or your color, it's like you already know what you want. Your body knows what it wants. The egg already knows which sperm it
Mm-hmm.
wants. It's innate. Anything 2 is innate, but we don't always have conscious of what that innate quality is. But in brain system language, a color 2 is like there's an ideal food, there's an ideal kind of information my brain is wanting to take in. How is it going to take that in? Through tone 3, through outer vision. So, human design, first time I laid my eyes on the chart, I was just like, that's me. I get it. It matched this ideal that was already
Right.
implanted in and I took it in through outer vision, through my eyes. These left arrows are pointing to the past. That's something people should know. We're going towards the right, whether we like it or not. Left and the past is focused, strategic. It's all about like your agenda and how you're going to get there and your logical sequence of accomplishment. Rightness is about melding and blending with everybody and just being connected to your environment and letting the environment be the main source of the prompt that moves you. So that was like what our Neanderthal ancestors, so-called allegedly was more receptive to environment. And
the ones running away from the humans eating each other on that planet we were on prior.
Yeah, they're the nice Neanderthals that weren't trying to kill everything because they were receptive. They were just like, oh, let's use what we have. Let's pick up this rock. Let's do this. They had language. They had some kind of emotion. But it wasn't like us. Then the Cro-Magnons came, or whatever the next edition was, that were our ancestors, our direct ancestors. Very strategic, very mental, very like, you're different than me. I'm going to kill you or enslave you because we're different. There's this strong differentiation of this is the focused thing that's good and everything else is not that. Whereas the right is more inclusive. Everybody gets a place in the hierarchy or in the ecosystem. It's not so much about survival of the fittest as it is through, like in Avatar, where they're all like, swirling around and sharing each other's memories and stuff.
What's the new one called? Fire and something?
Fire and Ash.
Yeah.
In the Fire. I don't know. That came out this year? No, that came out at the end of last year.
I haven't watched it yet, but
it was basically the same movie as the first 2, but with fire. Same.
Oh, it's not with water anymore, and it's not with okay.
It's just the same plot. Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't bad. We like going to Avatar World. So anyway.
But I think it's important because when we're talking about lines, it spans in so many different areas. But I think it's interesting because to understand the tonnage of that is what defines you in your human design of, like for you, like you also have that 6 line on the left side and that creates shores, right?
Yeah. Down here, we get into, because the top one is going to be how your brain inside your skull is designed. Then we're going to look at your body and its relationship to your environment. So I'm a color 6, which is shores, and then each environment pulls one way or the other. So that could be, for me, it's natural shores, even though it doesn't say that, or it could be unnatural shores. So that's showing me, okay, when I'm in my shores environment, my vehicle, my biosuit is doing better. I'm meeting with the right forces, people, alignment, timing, right place, everything. And, I'm just like not aging as much. And I'm like seeing the right things for my mythology of my life. If you're not in tune with your environment, you could be just, for lack of a better analogy, just staring at a brick wall. You're in the wrong environment. You have no connection to it. You're not seeing anything that moves your trajectory forward. You're not actually living your life. You're just in a space. You're in a liminal space. So that's why environment and place, and why I've started focusing on astrocartography so much, because so many people are not in places that are conducive to them actually even, having that next inspiration or that next like intuition or feeling anything.
Well, especially if you're a manifesting generator, a generator, you have to respond. So then there's nothing to respond to. It
And
almost
then,
like nothing is going to be there to respond to. Or if you're a projector, there is no invites in that direction.
Right. And for both of those instances, it feels like you're dying, like there's nothing to do. You're just like, ugh.
Right. So I just wanted people to see that, because when we talk about this line 1 finishing out, it's almost like if the body graph was the world we're in.
Yeah.
We're watching a 1. It's kind of funny because you actually have a 1 and a 6 there. But it's different though. It's like a whole complete changeover. And a 6 line, it's a color. And I
think this would be the closest thing to what the global thing would be based on. So let's say for the past 400 years, the world has been in a first line theme, which is motivated by color 1, fear. So fear to get all the facts so that we'll be ready for the future. That's what fear motivation is all about. That's what we've been all about. That's all we've ever known. If we're alive today, all we've ever known, fear motivation.
And information through school, like, okay, what school is your kid going to? And are you getting the right grades? And what's the subject matter? And did you do your homework? And then when we're 18, we get pushed out and you either go to college or you don't.
And that's the rat race. All the rats scurrying for all the little bits of stuff. Line 1, small, 1 at a time, 1 piece at a time. We're going to a 6 because these revolve backwards. So that's why it makes sense. So a 6 line motivation is called innocence.
Yeah.
I've known innocence people in my life. It isn't a motivation. Things just happen.
Right.
It's not that they're helpless. It's just that the way that they relate to the sequence of events, it's like they kind of get swept into things, sometimes to great advantage. And when things don't work out, they just kind of fall out of things. So, that's just an interesting way to see how people will be moving for the next at least 80 years. Is it's not a lot of choice. It's not a lot of like,
right.
Oh, I lined up all these details and I got this degree and then I got this job and then I got this paycheck, then I got this house. It's just like, and then we kind of got swept over here and started a new life or something like that. And then we met this group of people and it was still in alignment. There was still a trajectory and a movement to it, but it didn't come from a lot of agency, force, focus, planning. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. And I think that'll be a lot better because I think people are drained by thinking so much. I mean, look at the mental health problem in the world.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is it's connected now to the gut. Like all mental disorders, everything. It's
right, because the
connected
neurotransmitters are created in the gut mostly.
And it's so funny that that's going to be more of a focus than the head and how we survive. And I think that's the hard part is like that, because there's maybe been so much TV about, and it's actually stemmed from like religions of like apocalypse, right? This idea of apocalypse, which really makes sense if I'm an astrologer, right? Oh, well, we're at the end of the age of Aquarius and we're moving ages too. Like at the end of every age, it feels like an apocalypse. All religions do that because they know at the end, they won't be the religion anymore. And it's every 2,000 years. It's every 2150, every time. A new religion takes hold. It's got its time, and they all have their end times thing to keep you in fear. And I think right now it's playing out more than you've ever seen in human history because, it's this idea of like, I won't go to heaven, and that everybody, and then it's also that one line of like judging and kind of shaming off your own information about somebody that you don't even really know the info. You're just like basing it off a little subset of like, they went to school, they didn't go to school, they had sex, they didn't have sex. It's very just basic, just like ding dong, binary, bing, 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 bing.
Yeah. And it's also the apocalypse just from the mind's perspective. The mind is like attached to the eyes. It wants to see what's coming, the certainty of what's next. We have the sequence, we have the pattern, we know what's going to happen. It's going to be summer next, it's going to be warm. So it's like going from that paradigm of navigating life through the mental field to suddenly, and we're in the feeling field. Electromagnetic energy fluctuation, feeling, consciousness sharing, and a population, speaking of the gut, who isn't great at feeling their feelings and
Right.
really completing emotions, and the karmic backlog of emotions from our generations of just traumatized people who didn't get to feel their feelings and have time for that because they were too busy surviving. So it's like we're just kind of shoved into this world of living through. And again, the way that we feel is going to change. It's not going to be like, oh, I feel all triggered by this and, I can't focus. It's more like that whole intensity cycle dies down and the solar plexus becomes more quiet. And so even the idea of what we conceive of like as emotional people or vibrant people or, people that feel good to be around or feel not good to be around, like that whole dimension of our
Mm-hmm.
consciousness is like getting hollowed out and holding something completely different.
Well, and I think a lot of that consciousness is what creates toxic relationship shit, because people like want to spur that extra high out of emotion, right? When it's like that isn't what we actually want. But then actually when you are in calm, then people go, oh, wait, I kind of maybe miss a little bit of the drama.
And the other thing that's dying is this human experiential way, which is how we go through emotional experience to learn about ourselves, mostly through trial and error. That's shutting off too. So this whole paradigm of like, even the movies, like the way that movies and storytelling is based on the conflict and the highs and the lows and getting to that climax and then the falling action and the hero's journey, the whole paradigm of how we find ourselves is coming to an end.
Right.
And then it's all just there. It's all just available. It's all just shared. Is it information? Is it feeling? Is it electromagnetism? Is it emotions? It's kind of all becomes one medium. And it's not as sexy. It's not as hot and activating and like, ooh, what's next? We don't know what's next, so we got to strive for it. It's all there. So we come into this space that's very just calm and cool and maybe cold, where we've been a very hot species. And that's like global warming. Ra even said this. He said, the temperature of the planet's going to directly reflect the solar plexus activity. It's going to get way hotter. The sun's going through its solar maximum, global warming or whatever it's called. And then boom, the solar plexus goes flat. We're probably going through an ice age. That's another thing we haven't even thought about of changing, like the global, all these deep ocean currents are changing, like the glaciers melting, whatever.
The super El Nino we're in.
Right. Which we haven't even really felt or seen yet. It's only hit in Europe so far.
And it's going to be, well, we've seen it in California with the big waves that we just had recently. And like basic, like, it's like here in SoCal, it's like the water's almost looking Hawaiian.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
It's pretty nice, right? Because we're getting all the warm waters up here. But then that's what creates off the coast, right? All these extra warm waters that it affects more like Texas and all the southern parts of America past Texas, right? Because when the fall comes, they're going to get crazy monsoon storms. That's what happens, right? So, and then we don't get as much, well, with El Niños, it can bring a lot of rain too for us when we get our winter finally.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting though, because if the climactic moments here and humanity's at this climactic moment, and I think everybody can associate with just that he was right. And he used astrology because astrology is so embedded into it. I think I was just talking to you. I'm like, if I just look at this year alone, like the Saturn, Neptune at 0 Aries, that's a reset.
He talked about that.
He did?
He talked about Neptune in Aries a lot.
Did he?
And I think he even mentioned Uranus and Gemini as being like the seed points for the raves. He was like, this shows that something new is coming. He has these cosmological lectures I need to like dig out, but yeah, he did definitely reference that stuff. And I remember it from a couple of years ago, well, like 5 years ago, maybe. I'm being like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah, this is when it starts. The whole rave thing is actually starting when Saturn and Neptune went into Aries.
I think it's starting in 3 weeks, when July 16th through 20th. All lines.
Is it bionic humans? Like, maybe that's what it is. Like,
I think
the first conscious, non-human entity gets speaks.
I think it's probably like a little bit all of it at once, right? I think like AI is gonna like I think they're realizing. I don't think like what you're seeing right now with Claude and OpenAI having to restrict their new models because they broke into
That's all
government data. I think it's a
show.
little bit crazier. I think it's more like a Terminator movie at the moment happening. Right? It's a little bit more like, you put that AI into that fucking human with that Neuralink,
And they never
and it
came
started
back.
fucking going into my own head and knowing my thoughts and started playing around in there. Turn it off.
There's no such thing as
You know?
alone to a rave.
I mean, like a lot of the people who've leaked stuff in the last 6 months has been interesting, right? Like, oh, well, they were opening up portals with it, right? Like that's like the big leaks from everybody in San Francisco, right? That it's like, oh, okay. So if they're playing with portals, the AI, what else are they playing with? What else are they doing? And then we already know robotics and we already know all of that. We already have Neuralink and right, like people are like playing video games with their eyeballs and shit now.
Mhm.
Like
Finally,
that there's a one line thing. Finally, you figured that one out. The math was fucking easy, whatever. But I think, but I also think there's this hidden occult thing that's coming in, which does feel, I hate to use the term alien, but it feels alien. Like there's something else that adds to it that is behind all of it, that whether we had 3i Atlas last year, right? Or all these things are kind of like happening as signs to like something's coming that you've never seen before. And it's almost like because with Uranus being in the middle of all of it, and with Pluto being in Aquarius, it's something that liberates us all. But the thing that's going to liberate us all is the ways the society has been working. And so it's like I'm a 1 line, right? I'm a 5-1, and I'm a heretic. So I'll say what nobody wants to say, which is like, you cannot liberate yourself until you fully fucking say fuck. It's like anarchy is the only way, like fully disconnecting
reclaim.
from the system.
That's the Phoenix.
And that's the only thing that actually will give you freedom and happiness without it feeling so. Because I think happiness is really just like, shit, I just feel naturally just good and there's not so much stress. And I can actually just let my strategy and authority play itself out without all these distractions and the mind and the not self. It's really the not self kind of drifting away, which is really kind of defined by the last 400 years of how to be. So when it's maybe his idea of the not self is kind of a crazy one, that it's really not you. Like there is some other functioning that's gone on into our brains that creates us to disconnect from our true self and our true 9-centered being and formulate this like alternate version that's fake.
Right. We really don't realize how deep in that not self we are.
Yeah.
Like that we wouldn't almost recognize who we are without it. Typically, like the experience that I have had of my body's consciousness really speaking up and showing me what it's made of and what it consists of had almost no relation to who I believe that I am as a person, as a personality, as, an individual that other people know a consistent narrative about. And we're just not used to operating like that. And so the not self continues. But what if it's kind of this bifurcation idea where technology and machines, they take the brunt of the not self. Like it becomes this externalized not self that humans no longer have to deal in the not self eventually, because that's what machines are for. There is not as much compromise upon these bioforms because these are vessels of consciousness. We've come a long way from that. We've had to go through eons of just surviving on the base chakras of 1, 2, and 3 and keeping ourselves alive for genetic continuity. But ultimately, as spiritual beings, we're here to reach our full potential. And that's not just like how many math problems can you do? How much money can you make? It's like, can you connect back to source and bring that energy into this dimension, that's what we're really designed for. So it's like if
Yeah.
machines can take over that not self that typically runs the world and is the medium of exchange and all that, then we humans can get back to what we were really designed for.
Yeah, because if you think about the last 400 years of across the planning and you were to come into it, you just lived on your property with you, your wife, you had probably 6 kids.
Yeah.
And you just lived off the land, and you saw your neighbor maybe when you needed some real help, and you guys met in the community maybe once a month during the full moon, so there was light at night to eat because people slept 2 sleeps and they hung out at midnight. That was when people hung out. Nobody hung out in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I know people think that's crazy, but look up the history.
No, that's true.
That's what we've been doing as a species forever. It's only in this cross of planning, this idea of go to bed at 9 p.m. and I have to be up at 5 a.m. and don't wake up. That is fucking hell. But the idea, though, of the Industrial Revolution halfway through it pulls men, ironically, away from the home unit to, I have to go work and build these machines, the very beginnings of them,
Right.
to create products for this centralized system that's going to be throughout the world eventually. And then it eventually pulls women and then children. And that's really Pink Floyd The Wall to me, this whole idea of like your kids just end up in school in the meat grinder and just add to the meat grinder. And then what Pink goes through the wall of like all of his fucking emotions and all, and he can't handle them all. So he becomes an addict and he fucking cuts himself and like all this shit that you see in people today now everywhere, right? Like you're kind of like, I don't know how to deal with this. So I fucking go through it in myself. And then I have to put on this fake fucking, hey, I'm in the fucking cross of planning. Everything's fine. Yeah.
The way that the cross of planning deals with when people die
Oh yeah.
is probably the
Death
one of
doesn't
the
exist
most-
in our world anymore.
most inhumane aspects of it. And
You're an obituary in a newspaper that nobody reads anymore. That's it. Bye.
they basically
And then
just
they burn
euthanize
your
you.
whole body and make it into ash and try and give it to you, make you go, here. Here you go. Here's the
Here's some
ashes.
dust,
And it's just dust.
with no encryption, no memory,
Yeah.
no none of that good stuff.
Mm-mm.
And that's another wrong in the imbalance. Like even Ross spoke about how, you know, we are on an evolutionary trajectory. We will become something else far in the future. It sounds very far out when you speak about it, and I'm not going to tell it right now, but he was saying that because of the way we're treating death in today's world, we may screw up our chance to evolve into these other entities much further down the line, because there won't be enough viable crystals of consciousness because we've eaten all the mammals. No one's died, right? He says that you need 3 days of undisturbed, the body being undisturbed
Right.
after death, because that's when the nervous system is literally matriculating all the experiences and codes from the life into the crystal of consciousness so that it can go shoot out and like maybe it'll land in another body. But that's actually a symptom of not exiting the matrix properly because you didn't
Right.
die properly. But so that you will be available, like leaving this sphere for another incarnation as something else somewhere else, right?
Yeah, because that's what alchemists did when a body died. Even before they took the body to use it for skull jelly, which was the number one thing alchemists sold in the 1600s.
For what purpose?
That was the medicine.
Oh, okay.
People,
Brains.
No, like they'd remove the brain, then they would scrape the inside of the skull, and they would make skull jelly out of it. And that's how King Charles II died, with shoving as much as he could down of his mouth and throat.
Suffocation or infection?
No, just like he was dying and they just kept shoving it. And just imagine somebody dying, and like you have all these dead human skulls like in a jelly form, and you're just like, ha, and it's like all in your mouth, and you're just like have skull jelly all everywhere, and he died, and he croaked and died. But people don't believe me, but they won't do their history that was the norm. That was normal. We were eating other human beings' skulls, like in order to, that was like the medicine. It wasn't,
people
it wasn't
don't not
ibuprofen.
believe. They just don't want to believe.
They don't want to believe. But that was the number one thing. But in there, the body must sit for 3 days, and especially based off moon cycles, like it would be like, and that's kind of a reflector thing, which is kind of cool. But it's kind of like, oh, especially if it's timed where there's a full moon, that makes the skull even better, right? Because it has let go of all of the things inside of it. So when you're taking the skull gel, you're not taking any of that human
Residue
in when you eat it. Think of that shit. So if you take like, right, or like cadavers. I mean, in my teeth, like for my gums, like it's like, do you want animal bones or do you want human bones? Well, I'm gonna pick human because I am a human.
Did you get any new superpowers from that?
No. My jaw got back. I haven't put in the implants yet because I don't want implants. I just want to fucking put a retainer or a fucking.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called.
I never got my implants.
Yeah, I just don't trust implants. But I was like, yeah, I'll grow back some of that. But I think that's what's wild though, because that's actually, if you study alchemy, bodies, death, and even for natural death, right? Just like you do, they didn't disturb it. And then that goes kind of back to even the way the Egyptians were, right? Like the idea of like everything was very proper. There was no just, pick it up and put it in the back of the fucking van and just shove it in a fucking locker and then flame that bitch up as fast as you can. That's what they do, is as quick as you can, sign this over so we can just burn it. We don't have time.
What if the rebranding of the world later in July is that we don't have to die anymore? And what if that liberates that fear-based?
Yeah, but wouldn't that reverse our species backwards?
But the thing is, it's all about how it appears, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's people. What if everyone didn't have any reason to fear death anymore? That would really change the psychology and emotional landscape of the planet in a really liberating way. I don't know. Who knows? I'm like, just want to throw everything out tonight because it's fun to theorize because we're so close to it.
Yeah, one thing that Aleister Crowley said, and he actually quoted, and I don't know the old 1800 guy's name, forgive me. But as he wrote in his full works of astrology in the late 1800s into the early 20th century, that no matter what, even in astrology, we all get to a point where there is a great mystery to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the hard part of society's at, is it wants to understand everything.
Certainty.
And there's not a certainty on everything. There's a great mystery to every. And he was speaking wider than just astrology or like your placements or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they until you embrace that, then, you know, so even with death, I don't know if there'll ever be a for sure we can escape death, right? There's going to be some sort of consequence with everything. But that's actually, ironically, what COVID was about, like the idea of putting gene hacking technology into people, and that's gene therapies, right? Is this obsession with the Hydra and the obsession with cells, or even now, you and I haven't even got to talk about this whole peptide obsession, right? Which is very, very much linked to the mRNA ideas, right?
Yeah.
That people are really focused in the Hydra. And the Hydra is the beast that comes across the whole zodiac that Ophiuchus is holding and is the serpent bearer of, you know, it's the Hydra that comes up to Leo and Cancer, where ironically all this shit is at now, like the mouth of the Hydra. So
I bought peptides, but my sacral authority would not let me use them.
Me too. I didn't buy them. I was gifted them.
Yeah, somebody I knew had some and wanted me to promote them, and they're still in my fridge. What I did was like hold the peptide bottle and kind of like try and absorb like whatever.
Did you get like blue shit?
No, I just got this GLP-3R, which I don't really need, it was supposedly marketed as this thing that gives you this mitochondrial reset and is great for your energy, motivation, focus, and just ability to like be a robot basically
Mm.
and doing your cross of planning duties, which when you're, you know, an emotional being and not a robot, that sounds kind of attractive sometimes because then you can just like bang it out. But
especially if you're a projector. He's not in your
no,
he's not living your strategy at all. Running
like
around making it all happen.
Yeah, I feel like it would be the worst for projectors.
Give a projector like an IV of like amphetamine and actually give them meth with peptides and be like, yeah, go finish it. Okay, yeah, I'm doing it. The crash
Go
once it all
initiate.
ends would
Go
be
to
like,
apply some jobs.
that projector passed out for 20 years. What happened? I'm a non-energy me. And I tried to do it all. But that's what that peptide thing, that's an interesting point that you actually connected it to the cross of planning, because what, to look better, because it's being sold for beauty first, right? Vanity, like this idea of like, well, you'll be better in the fucking cross of planning of the Matrix because people will smile at you more because your skin looks better, because your this looks better. And then it's sold to you for health, right? Like it'll replace all of these cells that are just dying and they're not rejuvenating themselves. And oh my God.
You can just fast, guys. It does the same thing.
Or just go off your determinism.
Right. Go to your right environment. That'll just whip you into shape real quick. That'll quantum leap you if you're actually in the right environment.
So am I in the right environment by being dry kitchens?
Yeah, it's a place of transformation where the transformation is of ideas, concepts, dry. It's not chemicals. It's not substances. That would be wet. It's a workshop. It's a laboratory. It's what you have here, a studio, ideas, images. It's all dry.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Hardscape, but you're technically kind of designed for man-made environments. Like you don't find dry kitchens out in the meadow.
No.
So it's
no, because
interesting.
even I was just up in Idaho, and even with my F450, I had my Starline cooked up. Like I'm very man-made.
Okay, so that's interesting.
And I use the new F series like Super Duty trucks. Like I special order mine. It has a built-in generator, and I'm running the fucking stage off my truck in the middle of. There's no cell service within 45 minutes.
If our bodies are the 3D projectors of the reality, which is what human design says, like the energy, the cosmic energy flows through your crystal of consciousness and it creates this world, and that's why we're so unable to pin down whether this is a sphere or a flat plane on this planet, because it's an emergent experience of your consciousness. There is no objective one place that Earth is. It's a bunch of nodes of consciousness co-creating one zone. But what I'm saying is, you as a hardscape designed person, you bring like this technology into the world in a way through your life. It's just a part of you. And your kind of person is always going to be connected to technology and things and like human man-made things. So there's a lot of people like you. Like there's a lot of people with hardscape designs in their environment. So in some way we can see that technology isn't going to go away completely, because it's still
can I just push back on that and say like, as that, and maybe this is my 5 line, it's like being spiritual in the spiritual community, people are not that way at all. They hate technology.
Well, they don't know how to
want
use it.
To be in nature, which if I were to look at probably all their individual charts, they'd be like, yeah, you're supposed to do that, or you're supposed to do that. But it's like, I get more flack because of that. And especially women are really not into that shit. Except their phone and the best hair dryer possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. All the other shit or red light therapies or whatever, but I mean like nothing like, more. Like it's more of like a nuisance. Like, oh, you have all the cords and you have all the screens and the computers. And, so actually, I feel very like alone. The only people that are like this live in San Francisco and code. But everywhere I go, especially in the spiritual community, everybody's like, do you want to get saged at this moment? Like, I'm like, no, I don't want your sage. Do you have a cool computer to show me something sick? No. I don't want your tea. Like, I don't want your tea, please. I'm not going to drink it. No, I don't. Like, I was just at an event and I was like, everything was vegan. So there was no meat. And I went, and it's like, but because we got to make sure that the vegans get the food that they need. I'm like, well, what about me as a meat eater? There's no, now
Well,
it's at a place.
This is why we got to create our own event.
Though, at every event now. Meat eaters are not thought of at all. Double Leos, especially. I'm like, what?
We're going to make our own because, the spiritual community.
So it's like we're thinking about this small subset group. This is the cross of planning bullshit. We're thinking about this small subset group. So we're going to make it all about them. And everybody will accept it because everybody wants that. Doesn't everybody want that?
Well, because it's, that's the not self. It's like, oh, we're good people because we're not killing things. And that's more spiritually evolved. And that makes us good people. So that means we have value and we're valid and that we should all, be valued. And so, it's really looking at life through the lens of the chart and seeing that only 20% of people on this planet have consistent self-worth, that even have a relationship to self-worth that, could define what self-worth even is. The rest of the people don't know what it is. It's all conditioning. It's not within them natally, naturally. And so they're constantly looking outside themselves because when the not self is functioning, we're always looking outside ourselves for the answer, for the identity, for the certainty, for the worth. And it's like, that would be really the spiritual thing, is like, look at yourself through this lens of your design and realize that what you identify with is actually your mask. And what's under that is that secret soul contract of Pluto that could actually give you the merit to feel worthy about yourself if you pursued it, because it would be body and soul and in your atomic weight of who you are, not just in this label you've put on yourself to say that you're virtue signaling and that you should be,
So you know what's a good lesson for people? What I did was, instead of complain all day about it or throw a tantrum like a vegan would. I love you vegans, but you guys are fucking tantrum lovers. I drove my truck to the closest store, which there is no cell service. Thank God I had Starlink to be like, okay, there's this city that's kind of close by, and let's pray. Well, it was the old man's gas station store that's the closest thing around, and he had frozen pizzas in his little like freezer thing. That was the nicest food in there.
I was hoping.
But to me, I was like, thank God,
barbecue smokehouse.
Thank God. Well, there was like beef jerky too and shit. I'm like, okay, but I figured it out, which reminds me of kind of where we're going next. It's like, there's no more vegan food for a vegan. No, there's plenty of plants around though.
Crickets.
It's kind of funny because during COVID, remember they're trying to push the insect agenda. That didn't go too far, but that it reminds me of that kind of a moment though, right? Like, it's like, oh, okay, I'm an MG. Like that, my 2034 is just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go figure this out. I'm gonna go over here and do this. I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it. I can go I'm not gonna sit around and wait because I know that ain't gonna do shit.
Did you have an undefined G?
Who?
You?
No.
Oh.
Mine's defined.
Oh, okay.
Very defined. So that's why I'm like, I don't care. I just need fucking something. I'll go to a fucking gas station. And it wasn't like a Shell or anything. It was a no-name gas station, right? From some old man.
Mom and pop.
Mom and pop. And that's where it was like, oh, thank God. And what's so funny is in that mom and pop store, everybody goes, thank God there's gas. Thank God there's this. And it's all the most basic shit. But
Hold on.
that's all I needed. I didn't need. I think what's going to be hard for people is that this cross of planning has created this very extreme way to live.
Dependency.
Yeah, dependencies that are so extreme.
But this just in. I was looking at the Barbolt's basket chart as a human design body graph.
And I don't call it that just because of that fucking guy. It's some TikTok video.
What about it? Oh, the transit.
Yeah, the transit's getting all this name from this astrologer who fucking wrote about it and how he predicted COVID.
Oh, sorry. Am I referencing the liberal astrologers? Well, anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, just you can call it whatever the fuck you want, you know?
Well, here's the funny part. If we look at the gate the sun is in on that day, it's gate 56, line 3. I mean, it's basically almost.
Oh, I know. That's my gate.
But look at what line 3 is called, alienation. And we're wondering, oh, is it aliens? And alien is right there in the keynote. I know that's a little bit literal, but sometimes it's a riddle like that. It's like right there. What is the Earth? Conservatism. This is where Pluto was at the end of its Capricorn transit for a long time. We saw a lot of big global changes at that time. And then North Node is in the gate of the sleeping Phoenix, 55, cooperation, which is about melding.
What is, do you think you could turn that to a, what do you call it? A mandala chart?
Yeah.
Because I want to get your 2 cents. So the pressure point of where all this is, that every planet's going to be making a hard aspect to, that's an odd one, even though they're more, I don't call them minor aspects, but they're fucking quintile, or they're going to be quincunxes and shit like that. And the most pressure is actually going to be on 4 Scorpio. Right? Because if you think about it, so if you look at the alignment of all these great planets in alignment, there's going to be a point that's going to be really pressured. And that's 4 Scorpio, which is a lot of the millennials generation have Pluto there. Like people born in 85, 86, 87, people who've got major placements there in Scorpio, Scorpios themselves, which that sits at the 28th gate. So what's that 28th gate?
That's the gate of preponderance of the great, or meaningfulness, or purpose. You know, in traditional I Ching, it's the point where the structure of support is not strong enough to hold things together. It's called, there is a sagging at the ridge pole, is what the traditional I Ching says, which is like the ridge pole is the beam that holds all the other beams. So it's like something, it's called excessive pressure in traditional I Ching. So it's like something at its brink of breaking.
How weird. Immortality, totality, and then purposelessness, embracing the dark side. Oh, I love it.
Richard Rudd speaks a lot about this gene key in reference to the doppelganger, which is like this psychological kind of double of you that has all your worst qualities or your shadow or repressed qualities, and you have to meet your doppelganger and like love them or kill them.
The victim of the fear of letting go. That's so what's happening.
Don't be a victim.
Right? What's even weirder is then the Venus retrograde that's coming this year in Scorpio. It's the last Kazemi in Scorpio in our lives of a Venus retrograde.
Sun and Venus?
Yeah, it's going to happen at 0 Scorpio, which is...
Whoa. The Grand
So
Master.
the 28th gate moves... What's right before the 28th gate? And that's actually...
The 50.
The 50. The 50th
the
gate...
cauldron.
The 50th gate in astrology, like just the astrological area, is the most unsafe area in the zodiac to have planets and anything. It's most dangerous.
The first degrees of Scorpio?
The end of Libra into Scorpio, yeah. Most dangerous.
Why?
Because it actually, well, one, if you kind of take the ideas of like Scorpio, Libra, attachment, like 7th, 8th house cusp ideas, And also in that area of the sky, there's a lot of dark shit because after fall, we start going south in declination. That's the idea of the sun being judged off the scales and being kissed by the Scorpio, which is a bite that's betrayed. It's Judas's bite. It's all of that.
I don't like that.
I love that shit.
I think it's happened to me enough times in past lives that I'm like, I'm done.
Well, and so it's interesting that this is where the Kazemi of the last one of our lives, right? In Scorpio, of a Sun Venus retrograde, Kazemi is corruption, equilibrium, harmony. Oh my gosh. Cosmic order. Yeah, okay.
You know, I love this gate on its own though, because
it's environmental disharmony.
This is literally the general of the spleen center. So gate 50 is what sets up the whole structure and order of what your body is recognizing as healthy and safe or not.
Yeah, this is where my Pluto is.
This is literally the gate that is responsible for gene transcription. So it would have been an area that would have been under attack by certain things that wanted to
by
mutate.
mRNA shots?
Yeah. So it's just an interesting one also to think of the people that possess
it hits the
this
immune
gate.
system.
Yeah, it's the people that possess.
It's also the codon ring of the Illuminati.
Right. He's referring to a different, Illuminati, I think. But
I have that channel of nurturing.
Yeah, that's why you have such a unkillable spleen. It's very hardy. It's very sturdy.
What's the 27th gate?
Nurturing. It's like,
and that's in the spleen.
It's called nourishment. It's in the sacral.
Oh, it's in the sacral.
And it's literally about the quality of nourishment in life and also nourishing others when we have that to give. But it's not, it's about realizing you can't nourish if you don't have nourishment yourself. And also,
maybe the idea of the Illuminati is because he's giving cosmic order there too, and the corruption. And then that's kind of an interesting.
I think in listening to he's referring to the Illuminati as being people who become self-illuminated.
Which is the original intention of it.
Yeah. Especially when it's looking at that 44 that it's connected to there. That is a really karmic gate. 44, it's about who's on your team and who's not on your team, who's in your soul family and who's not in your soul family. And how that follows you through lifetimes. So it's also another gate that is sensing corruption, but it's more within the tribe. It's also 44 is what matures the B cells, the recognizer cells of the immune system.
Yeah, I was going to pull up one more thing here that to help people understand why I'm getting that, because July 20th, 2026. Oh shit, here it is. Oh wait, that's perfect. That'll work. Like if I were to, so you have, of course, this is the new, continue. Oh, I don't want to exit out. Let's mark up. So you have Jupiter at 4. You have Uranus here at 4, Gemini. You have Neptune at 4, Aries, retrograde, by the way. Pluto at 4, Aquarius. So that's where we're getting this idea, right? Is the Jupiter trine Neptune, the great sextile here, the opposition of Jupiter, Pluto, the sextile there. And, we've got this, but the pressure point. So you would think, is it Sag? Well, no, it's getting trines from Neptune and sextile from Pluto, and it's getting a trine from Jupiter. No. So then you go to 4 Scorpio, and you go, oh shit, square, quincunx, square. So the worst place where the evolution is going to happen the most, believe it or not, is not in the signs that everybody keeps looking at.
Yeah.
It's going to be the point that doesn't have enough energy to support it in the pressure. So what no astrologer out there is telling people with planets at 4 degrees of fucking Scorpio or Scorpios that are sun at 4 degrees, like your life's about to get fucking handed to you, to say the least. Like that we are too afraid about death, right? That we were just talking about.
I'm gonna look up the Sabian symbol.
Like all of these things are going to be fucking. I mean, I just loved using those gene keys because it was like, oh, the victim of the fucking unstable, crazy environment. Or the victim of, I forgot the other one that we just did, but it was like of like something that felt very fucking end of cross of planning. But it's like, it's very like not going to be fun because nobody wants to accept the changes that are going to be. That's what it was about. Not wanting to let go.
So the Sabian symbol, a massive rocky shore, resists the pounding of the sea. The symbol often implies a relentless resistance to change.
There it is.
Along with the strong and abiding endurance and ability to stay with things for a long time. So, but with all that energy focused on there, it's kind of breaking that. It can show feelings of being under emotional assault, like life is wearing you out or grinding you down. Perhaps the same old conversations, problems, issues keep coming up. We're done with that. Have faith in the fact that you are strong enough to resist and maintain. Like the massive shoreline, you have the ability to resist things that test you. The question is, how long can you hold out, especially if it's been going on for so long? Employ love and compassion along with knowledge, when to allow things to happen and when to let go if things are no longer working. Unchanging reality, establishment, being strong under assault, feeling battered and bruised, Chinese water torture, evolution, endurance, strength, having strong muscles, the shadow, acting out of stubbornness, which can lead to inertia, not growth, tedious negotiations of all kinds, shooting yourself in the foot, fighting the elements.
So there's a couple other dates here that are kind of interesting with that, because then once we get out of this pretty quick, July 20th to October 17th is 2 months.
Yeah. With eclipses.
Then there's Venus retrograde at 4 degrees, right? And in square to Pluto.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Then Mars, right before that, is in square to Venus retrograde, 7 degrees here, which is in the same gate 25, right? It's the same gate. The Venus will be in the same gate as 4 as it is with 7.
Yeah.
The Venus retrograde will be there in square to Mars, which that Mars will then days prior on October 7th and 8th be opposite Pluto, which is what we went into 2 years ago with the whole Mars retrograde and opposite Pluto when it was coming from Capricorn to Aquarius. So we haven't really faced that yet fully. That everything to me is like these are like the little things that are huge that come with what's happening right now of the end of the whole cross of planning. South node, and that's the other thing about in human design, the nodes changing. Like Ra always spoke like he was in a restaurant and he timed exactly when the nodes changed, and everybody at his table, at other tables, the waitress, fucking, it's like the Matrix swaps into a whole new fucking different movie. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be a Jupiter South node.
And
North node Pluto now for the next 18 months. And that's destroying the world, what we thought.
Yeah, this nodal configuration is very similar to the Carrington event, which also took place in a horse year.
Oh, that's interesting. And even Chiron coming back into fucking Aries during this time period, I think it's going to be kind of rough because watch this, the sun and Venus, Cazimi, the last one in Scorpio of our lives at 0 is going to be pretty much opposition, right? To Chiron. Square Pluto. And it's not going to be fun because all that sun Venus shit that's going to be happening is all going to be, if I were to just take it, right? Like all going to, here we go. Oh, That's going to make a square to Pluto. That's going to make a quincunx to Neptune. That's going to make a quincunx and a yod, right? Up to there. And then, Mars, Jupiter, well, especially Mars early on is going to square that Venus, but that's kind of not really involved there. But there's a lot of pressure still in that area. And Venus is the second worst place to be for Scorpio, right? It's a detriment there. So to me, this is like the square to Pluto, the ruler of that sign being an Aquarius. And I think 3 is, I don't think we're going back into gate 60. Or are we? Where does gate 60 end? Yeah.
No. We're done.
We're done. So, but I think the next gate we're in right now is the one where we all, it's 41. Like the promises that we think that happen that don't. It's like the lie that
41 is called decrease.
Decrease.
It's like the wisdom of, by decreasing now, you increase later. And it's in the human experiential way. So it's like allowing old fantasies to die about what you think your life is going to become, because that's the human experiential way, what we think, where we think we're going. Pluto in there says, I need to kill off some of these old dreams because they're eclipsing where you actually need to go. Like you want the wrong things, guys. We've got to do something about that, because that desire is one of your greatest magic powers.
What's that fucking date? I think it's, is it the fall of 1940? September 1st, 1940 is the start of World War II. And what do you see? So there you're kind of like, Uranus is in Taurus. There's Pluto and Leo at 3, and there's Neptune. That's the start. But nobody believes it's the start of World War II, right? It's just the Germans invading Poland. But by the time that you just bump it up and you get to when America enters the war, right? During not D-Day, but during the December 6th, 1941, during, what's it called in Hawaii? Again,
Pearl
Harbor, right? When we enter the war and we're in our 4th turning, December. I think Rod brought up how America was like a lot of this too. There we are. So what's crazy is now you start to see like World War II is like waiting for Uranus, but America doesn't do anything. We just declare war, but all the troops, all that shit doesn't really start happening until 1942 into 43. So if I move it to like 43 and I go to like, let's say July 20th, like 43, right? When the war's like, okay, America's changed. People are drafted. Women are now drafted. Everybody's gone. Well, look, there's Jupiter and Leo. There's Pluto at 6. There's Uranus at 7. Oh, and then there's Neptune ready to come into. So if I go in the months ahead right there, like July, okay, let's go one more. And there's Neptune in Libra. So now we're getting into another cradle, right? And so there's Neptune at 3. There's Pluto at 8. The more you go from 43 into 44 when the war gets crazy, the more the cradle gets tighter. Which is crazy that we're at the place to where it's the tightest it's ever been in history. But, you know, you start looking at Neptune at 1 there. There's Uranus kind of far off. You get to a place to where they all actually do come into pretty close alignment. And so even in, I think it's 42 then, I think I kind of went a little too far. 40, there's Neptune, there's Pluto. Neptune again, Uranus at 0, Gemini, that's 42. That's where we're at now. Pluto, Neptune, so it's somewhere in there. But you get my point, is that the last time we had all the air, fire, outer planets in close proximity was the middle of the peak of World War.
Foreshadowing. Okay, so all of this talk about Anthropic and basically how they got their win was when they apparently didn't want their systems used for autonomous weapons. I'm kind of tapping into, okay, what if this is about a misfire of autonomous weapons and the machines actually accidentally, so they say, send out some kind of like nuclear strike or bombing, and it rewrites how society has to like legislate and deal with machines. And it kind of actually is this plot twist we weren't quite expecting with the AI bubble, where we kind of have to pull back a lot. And there's a good reason for it that definitely shifts the dynamic of the world, but it's kind of a weirdly convenient common enemy or a thing to unite around, where the current conflict seems, it doesn't seem like that's where it's going, but it's like the scapegoat actually kind of helps us unify.
We're about to go into this in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Or July 2nd. So 3 days away, 4. So 5 degrees. And it's kind of weird because Uranus goes to 5 degrees this year. But then here's a sextile with Pluto at 7. That's 2 degrees off, right? Okay. And then here's Neptune at 4. So that was the tight. Right. So like that's harmonious as fuck. Yet the date, January 20th, 44, if I go to that date and we look at like what was happening at the beginning of 1944, this is them planning for D-Day, right? This is the Germans with the V2 rocket, like pump the V2 rocket. They're bombing London. They're fucking doing the hardest core shit. So United States proposes a second Bill of Rights for social and economic security in his State of the Union address. A second Bill of Rights. The Nazi German administration expands the concentration camps. Winston Churchill begins a 2-day conference. Like World War II, Soviet troops start an offensive at Leningrad and Novgorod. The 27th Polish Home Army Infantry Division is recreated. The San Juan earthquake in Argentina, killing 10,000 people. The Battle of Monte Cassino in Italy, the Soviet Union ceases production of their sniper rifle. They can't, everybody's out fighting. There's nobody to make them. And what was that date? January 20th?
Mm-hmm.
The United States 36th Infantry Division in Italy attempts to cross the Rapido River, and then Operation Shingle. The Allies began the assault in Italy and taking out that. The total solar eclipse over the Pacific Ocean. Argentina gave in to the Allies' pressure, severing diplomatic relations with the Axis. Hence, Operation Paperclip places Hitler there many years later. So I think there's a lot more for people to realize is going on during this period that says that, you know, it's not light.
Mm-hmm.
It's not light. But what's kind of crazy is that was like the whole plan, like the Axis and the Allies and how, and everything being like figured out of, we're going to rob the Germans and we're going to steal this and we're going to do this. And it all works out because there's a cost of planning and they don't give a fuck. I think that they're trying to do all this shit again and it's going to fail.
Because there's no cross of planning to hold it up.
Yeah.
And it's just free for all, Phoenix energy.
Yeah. But to me, I'm just like mind blown that the last time it was air fire and that's the closest you can get. It was this shit. And it was Jupiter conjunct Pluto. Now we're going to have Jupiter opposite Pluto. So I think just it's more signals of like we're at that place. And by the way, Jupiter just went into Leo like in 40 minutes.
20
ago.
minutes, yeah.
But I think, you know, as we wrap this up, I think, you know, one, we just created a new site. So we're going by now, stormofthephoenix.com. And that's where all of our episodes are going to be.
Storm era.
And you can go back to our old past of all the episodes, but we're also going to be placing awesome like events we're going to do, PDF stuff that we're going to do. So like the home of like all the work we've done and what we're going to be doing forward is there. It's at stormofthephoenix.com. It's already up.
We're taking over.
Yeah, well, it's so important during this, especially this next 6 months.
It's going to be fun to be here talking about it as it happens, just like we do best.
Yeah, and especially the episodes will be a lot more like before dawn when they were very targeted. this one was us saying, hey,
We're back.
The fucking
Overview.
We're here. The moment's
Buckle up.
approaching, and it's not a time to disassociate into your not self.
True. Because you have everything you need if it's all online.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when I think of just this whole moment we're in right now, like today was a crazy day astrologically, like crazy. And I haven't even been able to compute it all yet.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But it's like what's coming in just 3 weeks alone. And then that's why I wanted to show people that Venus retrograde shit. It's not going away. And it's going to be a really intense ending to the cross of planning. Like it's very intense.
Finale.
And I think, I don't know, what does Ra like say? Because that system begins to fall, right? Like when he talks about the individual, like I get that on the self. But you have probably about like smaller just groups that are in their own way. Like you were bringing up earlier, how things are just going to naturally show up to you that are in your kind of frequency and alignment. Do you think there'll at least be like small groups coming together? Maybe not coming together like with other small groups, but just like to get through that shit with?
It's already coming together. Like even us coming together today. It's just like there are things like you were showing on that timeline. There are things happening we don't see that are all going to constellate into something bigger. Same as for us, like our bodies are already moving us into alignment. That's why it's important not to dissociate, because you might get, and it's not about scurrying around and like diving out of the way of the bomb. It's like, it's about linking with the fractal of the people that are going to be with you on this journey. We're moving through time and space. It's not necessarily like what our conscious mind thinks of it as like a battlefield. It is going to be that in some ways, but it's all about trajectory, timing, geometry, place.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend recently about surviving these kind of times. And it was like, do I have enough food and water and all that shit in a gun? And I was like, that doesn't matter. What matters is you in the moment responding, because maybe you're going to be the one that could talk to the person who won't talk to other people just because your aura and energy is what they would rather talk to. Like just because maybe you got all the guns or you got all the food and you actually just need access to this road, that guy doesn't give a fuck, because if he doesn't like your aura, let's say you're a manifester, right? Like, right. Oh God, like fucking, I don't care what you got. Right. So it could be like, it's some old lowly generator, right? Like 1-3. Like I've had enough bonds broken in my life. You damn manifester, Right. I don't want you to come through, but maybe you're the wife and you're like the projector, and I guess you're not asking for the invite. That wouldn't be the right way. But I'm just saying, whatever it might be, your just aura and energy is matching the situation. So they always say, and I learned this in old military shit, like the person who usually is getting all the food and water is like alone. And then what happens is 2 weeks later, up on the ground, the person who's fucking like gone through every house, found who's still around, found people. Oh, we know that one guy's in there and he's down there in his little basement and he's got it all doors locked and he's got whatever, the highest tech shit. Okay, I need 20 of you all. Let's go down there and fucking break the door open. That's always what happens. Yeah. You can't. It's not, I'm safe because I have so many guns and food and water. And if it was a zombie apocalypse, it would be like, how many times there was people and then they became a zombie. And so all that food and water now is just, it's open. Whoever's still alive that needs it. People don't think of all those like windows of opportunity that it's going to be, or that one family who got everything and was out of town. Now the grid stopped and there's no planes going in. They're not coming back. They're on the East Coast. That house down the street that's full. Their solar flying car is up for grabs. Right. Their Maybach had so much food and water in it that it never even drove. But you could drive it with all of it and bump some music down the street to wherever you're going. It's just like people just have to realize that timing, like you said, the
It's
geometry.
so nonlinear. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you need to trip out about how much food and water and gun supplies you have.
Best preparation, clear all the obstructions from your open and undefined centers. Because then you're actually hearing the signal of your higher self or your soul, and not all these little like, oh, go that way, go find this, go hoard that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not you.
Right.
That's the echoes of the cross of planning. That's not going to save you.
Keep buying more stuff from the cross of planning to maintain the cross of planning.
And that's why you need to be brave at this time, because you're going to have to go essentially against all that. Not necessarily against, but around all of that survival conditioning. If it's coming from your defined spleen, go for it. But if it's coming from your undefined spleen,
during World War II, I always like the Russian story the best because it's like, it actually is true. Like Enemy of the Gates with Jude Law, where he's just this guy and he's thrown in and it's a fucking war and he's on the boat and everybody's being shot. And then he finally gets there and they go, whoever has the rifle, you shoot the rifle. And then once you die, the man who has the bullet, you pick up the man's rifle and you take your bullet and then you shoot the gun until you die. And then the next person, whoever picks up the fucking gun and the bullet, you just shoot it. Right? Like,
yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like a sniper as a kid, right? So he's like wanting the gun. And of course they give him the bullet. So he's like running and then he waits till the guy gets shot in the head and then he picks it up and puts the bullet in and then fucking plays dead because there's nothing to do. And then that's when he gets his moment and there's an officer there and he shoots fucking all those German guys. That's, to me, the future. Not about having the gun, but at the right moment, knowing how to respond and do the shit in the moment. Like that's, and like even that old history, like they stopped making sniper rifles because literally the only way that Stalin made it happen was like, everybody leave the factories and everybody go to fucking protect Stalingrad now in Leningrad. And he used a body double, I don't know if you know too, to go down in the subways, like the beginnings of those, right? And speak to the people of Russia there and use the echo, but he would have a body double there because in case there was Germans or anything. It's also interesting, like Napoleon, it was just like a couple days ago, it was like the anniversary of Napoleon coming that far into Russia. He's the only one to go that far, besides farther than Hitler. And nobody's ever made it into Russian war and won. Nobody in all history. And I think that it's not the Iran war. It's the Ukraine-Russia war that causes this whole cross of planning to end. Because that's where, because that's where, so I've all my stupid history. That's where the Saturn-Pluto conjunction of the whole fucking plagues, it all is right where Crimea is, right? That's where the plague, the Black Death that killed half the population. Every event is there. I don't know why. Every event is always in the Mongolian Empire to there. Alexander the Great's crossing. He died somewhere, by crossing through that zone. That's the most dangerous. All the biolabs are there.
Mm-hmm.
There's this book. So when I was just up in Idaho, some guy told me about these books, and like a CIA guy had given it to him when he was like young and said, hey, this is actually the most like real shit we know. And this guy fucking put all these books out called The Matrix, like, and they're these crazy fucking books. And basically we're at where the books end in 2005 when he wrote them from the 80s of like, there's like 4 end games for this cross of planning moment. One is a War of the Worlds scenario where these fucking machines are going to come up from the ground and fucking eat us, like literally like harvest our blood and shit. 2, it's a world war situation and most of the population that doesn't know what the fuck's going on. 3, it's another alien situation, but more Project Bluebeam coming above and then fucking weird shit happening. And then there's another one, but I don't remember it. I didn't finish that part.
Whoa, we got to figure out that one. We might want to pick
like
that
maybe
timeline.
we go into that shit, but it's fucking dark. It's really like gnarly because the guy actually, I'm like, this guy has to be a 5-1 because he speaks like raw or me, just like he's just like so like fucking idiots in the book. And this dude verified to me when he told me this shit, like he had he had a friend and he like his neighbor was or whatever CIA and gave him the book and to these kids when they were like 16, like this is the real shit. Like this guy and what he puts out is what we know for sure is going to happen. And all the shit in that book is the most real shit I've ever seen in my life. It's called The Matrix. It's mind blowing. But it's funny because he brings up in 2005, like War of the Worlds came out and all that shit. And he was like, oh, that's crazy because that's actually one of the end game scenarios that the military runs all the time. And that's
there's definitely a lot of stuff under there.
Well, that's also the first radio broadcast that scared the world. War of the Worlds. People thought it was real. When they read H.G. Wells, that was a story that was put out to the right. That was read on the radio. People thought it was real.
Because it was an Atlantis flashback, too. And
people forget that H.G. Wells book, like it's about harvesting the humans.
Yeah, I mean,
that everything was planted here before we knew, in order to wait till we reached a certain amount of people and time to harvest. And that would be the weirdest thing about cost of planning. And then the rise of the Phoenix being the rise of machines out of the ground from ancient alien times to harvest.
Yikes. We better.
So I don't know if your food and water is going to protect. I don't remember that movie. I forgot that actor. I love him though. Theodore Robbins or whatever the fuck his name is. He's all creepy with Tom Cruise in his little fucking area. And then he starts getting all freaked out. And then Tom Cruise has to kill him in front of his daughter. Movie's crazy. I love that movie. When he's freaking out when they're going, and they're terraforming. And that's the other thing he brings up is that they're going to terraform the planet with all of our blood. But it's like all of the terraforming. And that's when he fucking looks and Tom Cruise looks and he's like, all the blood on his face and shit, because the whole fucking atmosphere is now all of the human blood. And then you see the moment where the fucking things come down and pull them up and the humans up and well, I don't know if you just saw last week that Navy officer who downed that plane in the Iran war said it was fucking a swarm of jellyfish that took him down. And if you look up at the UAP stuff that the government put out about the jellyfish, it looks like a fucking jellyfish with tentacles that goes around and takes things out, right? It's fucking crazy. But that's like War of the Worlds with the tentacles and the fucking things. That's like the little like, are all the humans ready to be harvested? Reporting back a couple more million. We're not to the 2027 moment yet. We're almost there. Brrr.
We better hijack our own timeline then.
Yeah, and I mean that's I think the stuff
all it takes is one person.
I think everybody should watch that movie though, if they haven't, and actually be like, that's a possibility, because Uranus and Gemini is no, that won't happen. The Germans won't invade Poland. They did though, but they won't do anything more. No, they won't use that V2 rocket. They won't bomb London. Oh wait, they're gonna fucking bomb London for years, every day, and pound them. No, they're not going to use the Luftwaffe. Oh, they're going to use it. No, they're not going to fucking invade France. Oh, they do. Everything about Uranus Gemini is everything that everybody believes, because it's opposite of Sag, is not going to happen. The stuff that they believe, that's not going to happen. The stuff that they don't believe is what happens. All of World War II is there's no way this could happen. Oh, it does. There's no way that this person will do this. There's no way we're going to win with a president who's in a wheelchair on his fourth term. Well, he dies. There's no way we could build an atom bomb. Well, we do have to steal some Germans, and we need to get, okay, and then we got to get Truman in, who was a new VP, to push the button and do it. It's all every part about Uranus Gemini is like, there's no way it is. And everything you're like, for sure, my life's going this direction. I would just right now say, shut the fuck up like a Gemini and turn around Uranus and walk the other way. Because there is no door here.
To be continued.
Yeah, it's great. And so stormofthephoenix.com.
If you want to debug your 9 centers.
Yeah. Well, it's great because we have so many plans of all the products and stuff that we're going to put out in the free stuff material. It's going to be badass. Like we already built it. That's what we did today. So stormofthephoenix.com.
Storm of the Phoenix.
Good to be with you. It's so weird to call you HT Maven, but I will call you that.
Maven.
All right. Just Maven.
Yeah.
I'm on that level, so I'm cool. Just Maven. All right. What up, Maven? Peace out, Maven. Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
Something is wrong with the world. You can feel it in the static, in the signals, in the fractures no one else wants to see. I thought I was chasing a secret, a hidden code, a machine buried beneath the noise. But the deeper I went, the more reality began to tear. The city opened, the mask came off, and beyond the chaos, there was another world, ancient, radiant, waiting. And in its light, a woman, Lady Avalon, not a dream, not a ghost, a guide, a warning, a key. Spirit Dial was never just technology. It was a doorway, a threshold between what is ending and what comes next. Now the old world is collapsing in plain sight. The new one is already calling. And once you cross that line, once you see what waits on the other side, you do not return the same.
I see it. The gate is open. No. Tell them I'm not coming back. I'm finishing this right now.
The signal has changed. The future is opening. And this is only the beginning.
It's the spirit dial. It bridges the fracture.
How long has it been here?
Waiting for you to answer. Waiting for you to answer.
Get your mind blown. Lady Avalon. Only on spiritdial.ai. The signal has changed. The future is opening. And this is only the beginning.